Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about sort of heavy-handed propaganda, particularly where entertainment, or what passes off or is we're told is entertainment, is in fact heavy-handed social engineering propaganda, quite brutish, aggressive propaganda at that. And so I was just going through a number of, or surfing really through. I've got a channel, a subscription channel where you get a lot of Euro stuff, TV series, movies, miniseries, all that sort of stuff. So I was surfing through it, and there's a few well-known propaganda production companies. This one's in Central Europe, and that pump out this aggressive propaganda. And as I was surfing through, I saw the production company's names. So I had a look at that, and of course it is now just without before I've even seen the program, I've seen its title or seen any of the stills or the promo shot, anything like that. I look at the production company, or for this particular production done by the production company, and it's the straight off the top, the executive in charge is named Roth, Jewish. The sort of other executives around, the script editor and story editor, all this sort of stuff. They're all Cohen and Bergenstein, so they're pretty much it's a Jewish cabal. Now, why and how is it that I know just from that alone, I know without going any further, I know that it's going to be a social engineering propaganda show? How do I know it from that? I mean, I shouldn't know. I should look at a name like Roth and go, it wouldn't even register. It's just another person doing their job, earning their salary, being a professional in their field of entertainment, and that their primary, if not their only mission, in doing a TV series, their only mission is to entertain the public, to bring eyeballs to the screen, so that advertising dollars can be gained and this sort of thing. So that would be, I should be able to look at it in that way, that the name of the person, whether they're Gentile or Jewish or wherever they come from or wherever their background, that I can assume immediately. I just know that they'd be doing their job just to entertain. But as soon as I see those names, I know that it's propaganda. I don't have to go any further. I know now. I can sort of the extent of the propaganda, the breadth of it, just how hard they bite with it, how hysterical it is. That I'm not sure about. There'll be levels there, but I know it's going to be full on just by the people that are producing it. Now, the folks that are paying for this, putting the money on the table, they're not commercially bound to any sort of commercial success. If nobody watches the show, or everybody watches the show, if the ratings are high or low or this or that, it doesn't matter, because they're not commercially driven. They don't have to produce a program to make a profit. These programs are being produced because of their propaganda, their influencing value. So because the profit motive isn't within the equation, then there has to be other sort of offsets so that these people aren't losing money. So you then go and looking at the funding model, which isn't hard to find, not even 5 minutes online, not even 2 minutes online, and you can see the funding model. Now, there's various NGOs, all of which have charity and tax-free status, so they can launder money. So if you're a company or a business or an entity of any sort, you can give money to the NGO. That then becomes a tax deduction. The taxpayer has now paid for that. That NGO then funnels the money to this production company. The production company is under no pressure to make a profit or a commercial return or do anything of commercial value. They're freed from those constraints, and the folks that have donated money to them have got a 100% tax deduction in handing this money out. Now, sometimes the government is also offering tax write-offs and tax write-downs to these companies, so that if they donate money to the NGOs, they get a tax write-off, but then they may get a 25% overrider, so they can donate $1 but get a $1.25 tax write-off. So they're actually making a profit on the, and so this is also all paid for by the taxpayer. This is the backroom funding model for these things, because again, they're freed from their commercial requirements to make a profit. And once they're freed from that, they're then freed from making quality entertainment. All they need to do is produce propaganda. Now, the only people that aren't Jewish, and like the managerial class, if you like, of this production, this particular one, but there are many others just like it, come from NGOs. They've been political advisors in the European Union. There's a conga line of these people coming in and out of NGOs through the European Union into the German public service, or the Austrian public service, or the Swiss public service, just a round robin of going Luxembourg public service, and so on and so forth. So you couldn't get a more hardcore base of activists with a mission to produce propaganda. So let's not dance around and say, well, they kind of made an effort to produce entertainment, but somehow it just got lost. A couple of junior radicals got hold of the script, and no. The intention was to produce propaganda. So the first 30 minutes of the program, they were pretty tame. Now it's the program's an absolute total inversion of the reality. Again, with Jewish propagandists, this is something they particularly love to do, but it's a complete inversion of reality. So it's like equivalent of a cop show with lots of forensics and stuff thrown in and stuff like that. So every managerial position was held by a woman, including the CEO. Every technical position was held by women, such as chief forensics officer, forensics on crime scene, chief engineering officer, chief legal prosecutor, and the judge, and every prestigious or managerial position, every single one of them was a woman, and around a quarter of them were lesbians. The employees, I suppose there were, 100 or so, whatever. They were divided between, there was a lot, very, very cultural. Now, it was set in a small village in the middle of nowhere, but somehow they managed to have like 50% of the people were all like Arabic and black, and sure. But everyone in the small town, everybody was white except for the people working there, which were half black and brown. The junior employees that were there, the men were, and all the men, by the way, particularly the white men, were depicted as emotionally unstable, petty, spiteful, poorly educated, just not team players. They were the ones that were, would mumble in the lunchroom about mass migration or green climate change stuff. They're the ones there. But the good people, because they were clearly the bad people, the young women though were smarter, brighter, far more emotionally stable. Nothing petty about them. They were morally superior, and they were depicted as such. So there's a clear divide. So if you're a straight white male, and particularly if you're a Christian, by the way, then you're just a bad person. That's it. And you're one smidgen away from being a Nazi. And if ever, with the leftists or the globalists sort of lose total control of the situation, then those people will be in control, and they're all Nazis. So you know what's going to happen next. Wink, wink. So that was about half an hour. So they didn't openly and aggressively denigrate straight white males at this point. They're just shown to be inferior people. So And it was done more with making women look superior than the men inferior. It was more now that at about half an hour in, it's like a major electrical charge sort of went through the whole thing, and the switch was thrown, and suddenly it was men. The troublemakers in the team are all straight white males, again Christians though, and they're just so morally inferior. They're pretty much evil, and they're the ones that come up to you in the street and going, it's the mass migration's the problem, and the strong woman, she is no, it's white people that commit all the crimes. These brown people and black people that are coming in from the third world, these illiterate peasants from shithole societies, they're in fact very, very good people. They're all doctors, engineers, and scientists, and IQ of 10 million apiece. And it's the white people that are committing all the crimes. These brown and black people don't commit any crime. Don't dare you say that, you Nazi fascist. And that they went straight down that path. And it's so heavy-handed that you laugh, because the white people are presented in caricature. That all the good white people, by the way, have dark hair. All the bad white people have blonde hair. I mean, could you be more pushing, propaganda based? So then there's people saying, well, the brown and black folks are the problem. No, it's and of course it ends that it's the straight white male that goes to church. He's the one, and that was it. Now this is. And I don't think children watch something like this, so it's pitched at adults. I would suggest young women, but it's a complete and total inversion of reality. Every single woman is depicted as sensible, wise, thoughtful, very stable. Nothing unstable about any of these women. Nothing emotionally unstable. They're intellectually superior. They're morally superior. They're superior in every way to the men. And whereas the man sort of flutters and fusses around with his moral inferiority, and he's too dumb and stupid to do anything else. He's emotionally unstable, and he's just a liar and a cheat and a scumbag. The women, by contrast, are just so wise, so sensible, so grounded, so clever. Talk about stability. They're solid like an oak tree. And and again, this is now I've actually done a lot of business and traveled around this part of Europe many times, and I can attest firsthand that this is an utter and total inversion of reality. They've completely flipped it, and this idea that brown and black people don't commit crimes. Why would you even attempt propaganda like that when you know it's, again, the complete opposite of reality? But this is the type of propaganda that's out there. Now, again, how do I know this? How can I look at names like Roth and Cohen and that, sort of look at that and go, I know what they're going to. I shouldn't know that. It shouldn't be that obvious, that typical, that frequent, that omnipresent that I know it from. But there it was. And again, in a real world, a commercial world, those sort of programs would be very rare, because they would have to make a profit. So as much as they may want to inject propaganda into it, they'd have to be very gentle and soft and careful and discreet and subtle about it, because they need to bring eyeballs to the screen to watch this program. It needs to be quality entertainment, and then people come and watch it. I doubt anybody watches this program. I imagine the viewership would have been zip, unless they force fed it somehow, or put it through the schools or something like that, and falsely claim viewership through that. But there's no way that something like this could get made, or with any sort of frequency, in the real world, because nobody would put their money into it. No commercial company said, well, okay, I'll invest in that, and it's going to cost, I don't know, $10 million, and I'm going to lose every penny. That they just plain wouldn't do it in a commercial world. But in a world where it's all tax write-offs, It's all money that's being laundered through NGOs as tax deductions. It's government handouts for, cultural development, these sorts of things. Because of all that, these programs can get made. But that demonstrates the unreality of the financial structures that make these sort of propaganda movies possible, these propaganda shows possible, because they wouldn't be in the real world. And once we get back to the real world, which means we have to take control away from the globalists, then these programs will stop being made and the propaganda will stop being disseminated. Now, the issue I had with this, or the issue I have with any of this sort of propaganda, is that it's an inversion of the reality. That's not how the world is. That's not the case. The idea that the only managerial people will be women, and that they're all incredibly wise and sensible and brilliant and so on, that those women don't exist, and that all the technical and scientific and engineering positions are all held by women. Again, that's an inversion of reality. So when you look at these things, let's suppose that in the real world, women were the scientific geniuses. I wouldn't have a problem. I don't care if it's a reflection of the real world that I see around me, and then okay, fine. I mean, if that's how it is, I don't mind. If it's organic and natural, I just don't mind. I'm not against it. It's when this force-fed reality, there are Nazis everywhere, and the only good people around are women, and all white men are Nazis. They say, no, fuck off. And the idea that the show is made by Jewish activists is similarly, that they shouldn't be making or allowed to make this propaganda. What if the reverse was the case, with propaganda was made about how evil Jewish people were, or how evil black and brown people are or something? Then there'd be uproar and screaming of, you're oppressing the, and so on. Then why do we allow it to happen to white people? Then it's ridiculous. You've been with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for listening.